This is the Podcast Lab. Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
Deep into sustainability and green living today.
Yeah, really fascinating stuff.
You know, it's interesting. You've sent over a whole podcast script about this. It seems like you're really looking for more than just the basics.
Definitely.
You want actionable steps.
Yes.
You're looking for what are people doing out there?
The inspiring stories.
Inspiring stories, right?
And this script actually does a really good job.
Yeah.
It doesn't just define sustainability, like the whole, meeting our needs without compromising future generations.
Right.
It really gets into the nitty gritty of how our choices impact the planet.
Yeah, no, I was really struck by, I think there were 5 practical tips that it highlighted. And, we've all heard this stuff before, but I thought it did a really good job of connecting it to the real world. Like, what does this actually mean?
Right. And how can we actually make a difference?
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of just feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, because it's not about feeling bad.
Right.
It's about saying, okay, like, I understand the why now. So let's get into the how, right?
Absolutely. And it does talk about the why, too, the urgency of it all.
Yeah.
The climate change, the pollution, using up all our resources.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't shy away from any of that.
No.
But it does present it in a way that, like,
as a call to action.
Yeah.
Rather than like, we're all doomed.
Exactly. It's like, okay, this is the reality. So what can we do? And so I love that it gets into those 5 actionable steps.
Yeah.
And the first one, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah, we've all heard that.
We've all heard it.
But it gets into,
But what does it actually mean?
especially with single-use plastics.
Right. Because I think it's so easy to get caught up in, like,
Oh, yeah, it's convenient.
it's convenient.
But when you really think about it.
What is that plastic bag really doing for me? And so it did a good job of explaining, like, the impact of that.
And also what we can do about it. Like, instead of just throwing things away, repair them.
Yes.
Repurpose things.
Yes.
Make sure we're recycling correctly.
Yes.
It even talks about how some communities are trying to go zero waste.
Wow.
Which is pretty fascinating.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads right into the second one, which is shop locally and seasonally.
Yes.
I love the idea of farmers markets,
Yeah.
but I never really thought about it in terms of, like, the cost.
The environmental cost.
Yeah, of shipping this food.
Bringing it all the way across the world.
From across the world, like that avocado had to get here somehow.
Exactly.
And so it made me think about, supporting local is not just about freshness.
Right.
It's about reducing our footprint.
It helps the local economy.
Yeah.
It strengthens the community bonds.
It's like a win-win-win.
Absolutely.
All around, right.
Yeah.
The third one, conserve energy. I mean, this is one I think we can all relate to.
Oh, for sure.
Unplugging devices. Like, how many times have we heard that,
Use those power strips.
Yeah.
And turn them off.
Right. But it also gets into, things like energy efficient appliances. Thinking about, the potential of solar power.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And I'd love to learn more about different types of solar.
Yeah. And how efficient are they?
And how they all work.
Yeah, exactly. That's like it's a whole world in itself, right?
Absolutely.
The fourth one, choosing sustainable products. I mean, that one can feel kind of overwhelming.
Oh, it's a minefield.
It's a minefield. But the script talked about eco-friendly certifications, which I think is a really good tip for people.
For shortcut.
Yeah.
For people who want to make better choices.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't have time to do hours of research.
Right, because it's like, I just want to know, like,
is this actually good?
is this legit?
Or is this just greenwashing?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the final tip is about traveling responsibly. This one hits close to home for me because I love to travel.
Yeah.
But I'm very aware of the
and
impact, especially of flying. And, the script talks about things like public transportation, carpooling, biking.
Carbon offset programs.
Even those unavoidable flights, you can at least offset them.
Right.
And it just made me think about, like, okay.
On travel habits.
Yeah, how can I incorporate these things more,
Yeah.
And, there was a quote from Alex Torres, who's a sustainability consultant that really resonated with me. And he said, sustainability doesn't have to be complicated. Start small, carry a reusable water bottle, switch to LED bulbs or compost food scraps.
Right.
Every effort counts and inspires others to follow suit.
I love that.
And I just love that message because it's not about being perfect.
It's about progress, not perfection.
It's about progress, exactly. And like you said, inspiring others.
Yeah, that ripple effect. It starts with us.
Exactly. So are you ready to hear about some of those inspiring stories
Oh, I am so ready.
of people and organizations who are making a difference?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so the script talks about the Ocean Conservancy's International Coastal Cleanup.
Oh, yeah.
And it's this global event where millions of volunteers
Wow.
come together to clean up beaches and waterways.
That's amazing.
And I think that's just such a tangible example of collective action.
People coming together
Yeah.
to make a difference.
And make a difference.
And it's not just about picking up the trash.
Right.
It's also raising awareness,
Yes.
inspiring other people to get involved,
Yeah.
taking care of the oceans.
Yeah. And then you have these innovators and entrepreneurs like Stella McCartney, who's revolutionizing the fashion industry with her sustainable designs.
Love her.
Or companies like Beyond Meat
Mm.
that are creating plant-based alternatives
Yeah.
to meat that are, good for the planet
Mhm.
and delicious.
Exactly.
I think what I love about those examples is that they're making sustainable choices
Accessible.
more accessible
Yeah.
to a wider audience.
Yeah, they're showing that you can have it all.
Yeah.
It's not about giving things up.
Right. And of course, we can't forget about the youth climate activists like Greta Thunberg,
Such a powerful voice.
who are, using their voices
To demand change.
to demand change from world leaders.
Yeah, she's incredible.
And it's just proof that,
It doesn't matter how old you are.
age is no barrier to making a difference.
You can make a difference.
Yeah. And speaking of collective action, the script dives into the role of communities
Yeah.
in creating a more sustainable future.
That's where it gets really exciting.
Yeah. Which I think is where it gets really exciting.
Yeah.
It's about people coming together
Mhm.
and creating solutions
Yeah.
that benefit both people and the planet.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And it highlights community gardens
Oh, I love those.
as like a fantastic example.
Yeah.
They provide access to fresh, local produce.
Mm-hmm.
They promote healthy eating.
It brings people together.
Yeah, it fosters those community connections.
Yeah.
It's about people
Growing their own food.
growing food together,
Yeah.
sharing knowledge,
Mm.
building a more resilient and sustainable food system.
Yeah. And it goes beyond just the food.
Right.
It can be a space for education, recreation,
Yeah.
social interaction.
It's a community hub.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there are green schools,
Mm-hmm.
where sustainability is integrated into the curriculum
Yeah.
and the school's operations.
Imagine that.
Yeah, we imagine.
A whole generation growing up with that.
Right. Like that's just the norm.
Recycling, composting, renewable energy.
Yeah, it's just how we do things.
It's normal.
Yeah. And then we have sustainable cities,
Mm-hmm.
which are increasingly incorporating green spaces,
Bike lanes.
bike lanes, efficient public transportation systems
Yeah.
into their urban planning.
That's awesome.
And again, it's about creating cities that
That's
are
vibrant, livable.
sustainable
Yeah.
places where people and nature can thrive together.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a quote from Maria Chen, who's an urban planner, and she said, "Communities have the power to drive change. By working together, we can create systems that make green living the default choice rather than the exception."
It's so true.
Right? It's like it's not this special thing you do.
Yeah.
It's just
How we live.
how we live.
Yeah.
So we've explored the why of green living. We've delved into those 5 actionable steps. And we've been inspired by stories of people and organizations who are making a difference.
For sure.
So, are you ready to talk about the future of sustainability?
Ooh, let's do it.
What does it hold?
What's coming next?
Yeah, what are the opportunities and the challenges that lie ahead?
The script points to some exciting possibilities like advancements in renewable energy, clean technology, the rise of circular economies, and increased corporate and government accountability.
Okay.
But it also acknowledges that it's not all smooth sailing.
Right. And that's a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive, where we'll explore those opportunities and challenges in more detail.
I can't wait.
Buckle up. It's going to be a good one.
I'm excited. Welcome back to our deep dive.
Yeah, it's getting deep.
We've been talking about individual actions and those inspiring community initiatives.
Yeah.
But now I think it's time to talk about
Big guys.
the big players,
Yeah.
the businesses, the corporations.
Yeah, the ones with the resources and the influence
To really make a difference.
to really make systemic change happen.
Exactly.
Right.
Businesses have a huge impact on the environment.
Oh, yeah.
Everything from their manufacturing processes, their supply chains,
Yeah.
the products they put out there.
Yeah. And as consumers are becoming more aware,
More and more.
they're demanding more transparency.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know, like, hey, what are you doing?
What's going on?
Yeah, are you part of the solution?
Are you part of the problem?
Or are you part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about, doing the right thing for the planet anymore.
Right.
It's also about, staying competitive.
In the market.
In the market.
Where consumers are really voting with their dollars.
Exactly.
Sustainability is no longer just this niche concern.
Right.
It's becoming like a key differentiator for businesses.
Yeah, you think about, look, we've all seen it, like greenwashing.
Greenwashing everywhere.
Where companies are like,
we're so eco-friendly.
we're so green.
But are they really?
But are you really, though?
Right.
And I think that's why it's so important for consumers to be
discerning,
to look beyond
the marketing slogans,
the slogans, the flashy,
dig a little deeper. Look for those third-party certifications.
Yeah.
Fair trade, organic.
B Corp?
B Corp, yeah, those actually mean something.
They mean something.
It means that a company has actually met certain standards.
Yeah, it's not just them saying, oh,
we're good.
We're good.
You can trust us.
Yeah, trust us, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of power as consumers.
Absolutely.
We can choose
to support businesses that align with our values.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to remember.
Every purchase is a vote.
Every purchase is the vote.
That's right.
If
you're buying from a company that's prioritizing sustainability, you're sending a message.
Yeah.
You're saying, this is important to me.
Yeah, I support.
I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about individual action, community initiatives, the role of businesses.
What about governments?
What about governments?
Where do they fit in?
Where do they fit in, right?
Governments play a really crucial role in setting policies and regulations that actually incentivize sustainable practices.
Okay, so we're talking about things like
carbon taxes,
renewable
energy subsidies, emissions standards, things like that.
Okay, so governments have the power to really
create the right conditions.
Yeah,
encourage businesses to adopt those practices.
Yeah, and then they can also invest in, things like public transportation.
Infrastructure.
Renewable energy projects.
Exactly.
So it seems like there's a lot of potential for collaboration here.
Collaboration is key.
Between governments, businesses, and communities.
Absolutely. This is a complex issue. We need all hands on deck.
Yeah, and this brings to mind, like, this whole concept of a
green economy.
Like, what does that actually mean?
It's an economic system that prioritizes both environmental sustainability and social equity.
Okay.
It's about decoupling economic growth from environmental degradation.
Got it.
It's about creating a system that works for both people and the planet.
So it's not just about, protecting the environment.
Right.
It's about jobs. It's about innovation.
It's about justice.
It's about building a more
equitable society.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. A green economy recognizes that environmental sustainability and economic prosperity are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
They can reinforce each other.
Okay, this all sounds great.
Right.
Like, are there any examples of this actually working?
There are countries and cities around the world that are making progress.
Okay.
Costa Rica, for example,
has
been a pioneer in renewable energy and ecotourism.
Okay.
They've shown that economic growth and environmental conservation
can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Denmark has implemented some really ambitious policies to reduce carbon emissions and promote sustainable transportation. They're proving that bold action can get results.
So it's not just like a
utopian ideal.
Yeah.
This is something we can achieve.
Something we can actually do.
Absolutely.
Oh.
It requires a shift in mindset and a recognition that a sustainable future is not just possible.
Yeah.
It's essential.
So we've gone from individual actions to global transformations.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
We are all over the place. It's clear that this is a vast, complex issue with so many interconnected layers. but it's also incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
You know?
We all have a role to play.
We all have a role to play, no matter how small.
No matter how small.
Our actions can make a difference.
They can.
And as we move forward in this deep dive, I want to talk about
the challenges.
The challenges, the obstacles.
The roadblocks.
The roadblocks that are in the way.
What makes this so hard?
Yeah, what makes this so hard? You know, because we've talked about all these amazing things, but there's another side to that coin.
There is.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll be getting into.
Yeah.
In the next part of our deep dive.
In the next part. So stay tuned. We're gonna get real.
Get real.
We've talked about individual actions, community initiatives, the role of businesses and governments.
And that big idea of a green economy.
Yeah. But as we hinted at,
there's another side to this.
Yeah, there's some real challenges.
Obstacles that make sustainability, well, complicated.
It's not always easy.
Even when we're trying our best.
Right. So let's dig into those systemic barriers. Like, what makes this so hard?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is our reliance on fossil fuels.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's how we power our homes, our transportation, our industries.
And it's a major contributor to climate change.
Exactly. And shifting to renewable energy, that's a huge task.
Massive undertaking.
It needs new technology, but also changes in infrastructure and policies.
I mean, we're talking about transforming how we live.
And it's not just energy, it's our whole economic model.
That make, dispose thing.
Exactly. We extract resources, make products, use them for a bit, and toss them.
Creating tons of waste.
And using up the planet's resources way too fast.
So a circular economy, that's the goal.
Reusing and recycling materials, closing the loop.
But that takes a complete rethink.
Of how we design things, how we produce them, how we consume. It needs everyone to work together. Industries, governments, us.
It's a lot of moving parts.
And then on top of all that, there are vested interests.
Oh, yeah.
People who benefit from the way things are now.
They might not be too keen on changing.
It's not always easy to give up power and profit.
So it's not just about finding the right solutions. It's about
navigating those power dynamics.
Challenging those economic interests.
It can get, well, let's say political.
Right. And even if we deal with those big systems, we've got our own habits to deal with.
Yeah, those everyday choices we make.
That convenience, that instant gratification.
It's hard to resist.
Like, I know I should bring my reusable bag, but
it's pouring rain and you just want to grab your groceries.
Exactly. So it's like, how do we overcome all of this?
Well, it can be overwhelming, but there's no need for despair.
Give me some hope here.
Well, one bright spot is renewable energy.
Okay.
The cost of solar and wind power, it's plummeting.
Really?
They're becoming competitive with fossil fuels, even cheaper in many places.
That's huge.
And the technology keeps getting better, more efficient, more reliable.
So it's a win-win.
And consumers are also becoming more aware.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
They're demanding sustainable products, ethically sourced.
Yeah, voting with their wallets.
Exactly, and that pushes companies to change.
They see that green can also be profitable.
And there's a wave of activism, too.
People speaking up.
Demanding action from governments and corporations.
That collective voice, it's powerful.
Grassroots movements, people who care about the planet, about social justice.
It's inspiring to see.
So it's not just about individual actions, it's about changing the system.
It's about creating a world that works for everyone.
Exactly, where people and the planet can thrive together.
So what can we do, each of us, to be part of that change?
It starts with our daily choices, simple things.
Okay, give me some examples.
Like reducing energy use, choosing sustainable transportation.
Biking, walking, public transit.
Yeah, opting for products with less packaging, supporting local farmers.
Okay, those are things we can control.
But we can also push for bigger changes.
How do we do that?
Make our voices heard, contact our elected officials, support candidates who care about sustainability.
Get involved in politics.
And support those organizations working on the front lines.
Yeah, there are so many groups doing amazing work.
Research, advocacy, protecting our environment.
We can donate our time, our money, even just spread the word.
Every bit helps.
This deep dive has been a journey.
We've covered a lot.
The good, the bad, the hopeful.
But the most important thing.
What's up?
We all have a role to play in creating a better future.
It's not about being perfect. It's about taking action.
Recognizing that our choices matter.
And that we're all interconnected.
With each other and with this planet.
So thank you for joining us on this exploration of sustainability.
We hope you've learned something new.
Been inspired.
Maybe even a little challenged.
And that you'll continue to learn, explore, and take action.
Because every step we take, no matter how small, moves us closer to a more sustainable world.
A world we can all be proud of.
For ourselves and for generations to come.